Obi was an unusual boy from a quiet village in Nigeria. Known for his mischievous grin and fearless demeanor, he loved playing outside, even at odd hours. It wasn't uncommon to see him darting between trees and chasing shadows under the moonlight. His parents, alarmed by his habit of sneaking out at midnight, warned him repeatedly. "Midnight is the hour of spirits, Obi," his mother cautioned. But Obi would only laugh. One night, the air felt heavier than usual. The moon was obscured by dark clouds, and the once cheerful chirping of crickets was absent. Undeterred, Obi slipped out of the house at exactly 12 a.m., clutching his favorite wooden slingshot. As he wandered deeper into the forest, he felt a sudden chill. A faint whisper echoed through the trees, calling his name. "Obi." He froze. His heart pounded, but his curiosity overpowered his fear. "Who's there?" He called out, his voice cracking. From the shadows, a group of children emerged. Their faces were pale, their eyes hollow, and their smiles unnaturally wide. Obi's unease grew as he realized he didn't recognize any of them. They were dressed in old, tattered clothes that looked centuries out of place. "Come play with us," Obi, one of them said, extending a hand. "Play what?" Obi asked, trying to sound brave. "Hide and seek," the boy replied, his grin widening. Something in Obi's gut told him to run, but his pride held him in place. "All right," he said, his voice steady. "I'll count." He closed his eyes and began counting aloud, but when he opened them, the children were gone. The forest around him felt different, darker, colder, and eerily silent. Suddenly, a hand touched his shoulder. He spun around, but no one was there. "Obi, you're it now," a voice whispered directly into his ear. Terrified, Obi sprinted back home, only to find his parents waiting, their faces pale with worry. "Where have you been?" His mother cried. "I was just playing," Obi mumbled, but he knew something was wrong. The next morning, the villagers whispered about a boy who had gone missing years ago, a boy named Obi. The realization hit him like a thunderclap. The children he had played with were ghosts, and they had marked him. That night, he felt an irresistible urge to return to the forest. The moment the clock struck midnight, his body moved on its own. By the time he reached the clearing, the ghostly children were waiting. "You're one of us now," they said, encircling him. Their pale hands reached out, pulling him into their circle. Obi tried to scream, but his voice was swallowed by the darkness. From that night on, Obi was no longer just a boy. He became a restless spirit, wandering the earth with his ghostly playmates. But unlike the others, Obi had a peculiar curse. He began to haunt anyone whose name started with the letters OB, IE, or F. Those who dared to say his name aloud 5 times or type it online would hear a whisper in the dead of night, "Come play with me." Soon after, they would vanish, leaving behind nothing but a faint imprint of footprints leading into the forest. The legend of Obi spread far and wide. People stopped naming their children with those letters, and online forums were flooded with warnings. Never say Obi's name. But humans are curious creatures, and some couldn't resist testing the tale. One day, a blogger named Femi posted, "Obi is just a myth." Obi, 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 Obi. See, nothing happened. That night, Femi was alone in his room when he heard a soft knock at his window. He turned to see a boy, his eyes hollow and his grin impossibly wide. "Come play with me." The next morning, Femi's room was empty, save for a faint, eerie laugh echoing in the wind. The villagers say Obi's spirit still roams, his curse growing stronger with every new victim. So if you ever feel the urge to type his name online or whisper it 5 times, remember this. He's always watching, waiting for his next playmate. If you my story, comment, like and follow more story like this.